Let's talk to Dr. Steve Taylor, who's the GP co-lead of Doctors Association UK. Dr. Steve, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. Good to speak to you.
Nice to see you. We're told this morning that the NHS is in a state of emergency. I suppose it is October, and we normally get told in October that we've got a winter crisis looming, and nothing is ever going to change. I always say, why is it that every single year nobody decides in the spring and the sort of summer months to fix it, so that when we get to this time of year, actually something has changed, but nothing ever seems to change?
Well, I think the truth is, Mike, that we're in a constant state of emergency, so it's very hard to fix it in the summer, ready for the winter. We've heard over the years a number of initiatives. I mean, the Conservative Party were talking about 5,000 new beds, was that 2 years ago, something like that. But the reality is, when I've looked at the numbers, there aren't 5,000 new beds. There's probably 1,000 more. But there's been numbers of conversations around this. Is it broken? I mean, to be honest, I've used the NHS personally 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I won't go into the details, but actually that bit worked pretty well for me. My mother has just been in hospital and sadly diagnosed with a serious illness, and that worked pretty well for her. So the bits of it are working pretty well. I think we sometimes over-egg the issues that are not working because actually some of the other bits are working pretty well. Having said that, it's not working well enough, and I don't disagree with the sort of premise that it's hard for people to get GP appointments. It's hard to get, sitting 4 or 5 hours in A&E is not good enough for a country that is, number 4 or 5 in the world. We should be doing much better, shouldn't we?
Yes, and we should be able to we shouldn't have to put up with it, really. I mean, I speak to people every day whenever I ask people about their experiences with the NHS, and you're right, some people say, actually, I had this operation, it was great, it was fine, the people were good, I managed to get a doctor's appointment yesterday, but by far and away the most people that I speak to say, I've had an appointment made and cancelled. They made another appointment, they cancelled that. I'm waiting to see a specialist. I went to A&E with my child and I was there for 5 hours, 6 hours. I mean, that's more commonly the story than it is that it was a good thing.
Well, I think part of the issue there is, 1.4 million people will go through GP practices today, so you've got to find somebody that's going to be a bit grumpy. Having said that, you will find, if you ask those that actually did have a good situation, it's work. I'm starting late today, which is why I'm here with you. But I'll be there till 6:30 tonight. I'll probably deal with about 30 to 40 people. Those 30 or 40 people, some of them will complain, I can't get a doctor's appointment, and they'll be sat in front of me. Right. And so some of it is. I think that the news narrative is it's bad. I'm not going to I'm not going to say it isn't. There are things that are bad. My mum did sit for 4 hours in A&E on a chair. I was sat with her in a room with another 8 patients that was no bigger than my lounge. We do need to invest a bit more, I think.
I think the problem is that, we've just been told, for example, that Rachel Reeves, in the midst of all of this, has given the NHS £25 billion extra this year since Labour have been in, and it hasn't apparently made any difference. And I think that's the thing. When you hear people say, well, we need more investment, people kind of go, well, how much more investment do you want? £200 billion a year, one of the biggest amounts of money ever given to the biggest organisation in the world, one of the biggest organisations in the world. It doesn't seem to be making it work any better. And I think it seems to me that the practices that go on inside the NHS in many, many places need to be changed.
Well, let's put it down into a smaller picture. So my practice, for example, the GP practice I've worked in for 30 years, we get about £130 per year to look after patients. Now, in real terms, that's 20% less than it was 10 years ago. So we should have £150, £160. That's £120 to provide, on average, 7 appointments, all the prescriptions, all the referrals, everything. If I had the extra 40 quid, I could actually afford to employ another GP. Literally, we could have another GP working in our practice, and another receptionist, and probably another nurse. So funding, 20% down in funding for us as an individual practice, that's real terms funding. So you've got to take out inflation and growth and all the rest of it.
But NHS funding is up, though, isn't it?
Well, it's up. It is up because actually, fortunately, you and I are getting older, and we're getting clever at fixing things, and we're keeping people alive longer. There's this lie, isn't there? I think it's a lie, that actually, if we keep people out of hospital, it's going to get cheaper. But the truth is, they just get older. So life expectancy goes up, all the issues that face life expectancy going up means you're just delaying the cost, aren't you? So effectively, you won't get cancer when you're 60, and actually, if you die of cancer when you're 60, you're quite cheap. Whereas actually, you'll live until you're 80 and maybe die of something else. But all those 20 years, we've got to spend a bit more money keeping you going.
Yeah. Listen, we've got to run.